what are some of the worst things that could possibly happen on stream that has happened to you?
I think that was one of the worst things.
Your computer locking yourself out
I mean,
midway through stream.
the worst things would be like, not wearing any pants and people seeing that. But like, I always
That's
make
happened?
sure.
I said
No,
like
I
that's happened
no,
to you.
no, I always make sure I wear pants. So, like, it doesn't it doesn't happen.
That's the headline. I don't think they mind that I tell this story, but I was emailing Sarah and the Toge team.
Mm-hmm.
And the headline of the email is like Toge Productions and the RF Johan. And every single time she mentions my name in the email, it's like, looking forward to hearing back from the RF Johan. I'm like, Sarah, this is a professional engagement. You know what I mean? We can't be joking around on the email. We can joke around on Twitter or on the DMs, but I feel like the email is like, that's sacrilege. No,
No, she was dead serious, right? She was like,
That's serious.
"Did you reply with the royal we?" Like, we from the RF Johan Productions.
Oh
would
yes,
like to-
well, it's quite funny you say that. Whenever I do reach out to like publishers or brands or whatever, I always say we've just done this project, as if there's like a 10-man team. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just me, but I just feel more comfortable saying like, hey, we just concluded, XYZ. How do you ever say the collective we?
I say we, but it's like, I don't know, I feels arrogant, so maybe that's why I don't put I. So then I'll say we, but then we is actually worse.
I have 2,000 followers on Twitch. You know what I mean?
That's when you say we, you can be like, oh, the community and I have just completed whatever game, visual novel you played again, that sort of thing.
I actually agree. We just raised money for charity.
Exactly.
Speaking of charities, this podcast is brought to you from... we'll probably raise money eventually, right? So we can definitely use that as a segue.
Yeah, wonderful.
We should probably start the podcast.
All right. We should start. Okay. Do you want to do the first intro, or the more we mess up, the more you have to edit, right? So
yeah, you're right. I refuse to edit this. We should probably say cue 10-minute long song, right? Yeah. And then
your guitar solo.
Yeah, my guitar solo. And be like,
guitar solo.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 20M podcast, a show about disagreeing with your friends. My name is Arief.
My name is Rino, and it's nice to meet everyone. Welcome to the first episode. How are you feeling today, Arief?
I almost thought you were going to be like, how's everybody feeling? Nobody's here. Nobody else is like, you know what I mean? What do you expect people to pause their Spotify podcast?
Exactly. Look, sometimes people go through their entire day without anyone asking them how they are. And I would like to be that one person in that day to actually ask them how they are.
You have very high views on the people that listen to this podcast. It's like all the people that are listening to this have no friends, no family.
Who has asked you today? How are you, Arief, so far?
I don't think anybody's asked me.
Exactly. So I'm asking you. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm doing really good.
I'm glad to hear that.
I went for a walk this morning. I know you don't walk at all.
No.
I know you definitely don't walk, or you definitely don't work out.
I just fly everywhere.
I went for a nice walk this morning. I tried a new coffee spot near the place, and it was good. I've been having a good day so far.
What coffee did you have?
Do you want the region that it's grown from? Do you want
I just want to know if it's
acidity
black.
level? It's
is it black or milk?
Yes, it's a black coffee. It's just a black coffee.
Okay. You're an adult.
Yeah.
You're an adult.
I am a man. I drink black coffee. How was your day? How are you doing today?
Today's pretty good. I mean, what are we? This is the last week of 2022, right? I guess it is, right?
Oh my god, it is, yeah.
Yes.
It's the last 4 days of 2022.
Yes. So, been sort of winding down work-wise, personal life-wise, just chilling out. It's been good. It's very cold in Tokyo, unfortunately, but...
Same here. That's why I'm wearing 2 layers.
You are in tropical Malaysian weather, but you're dressed more warmly than I am at this moment.
That's not true.
That is.
If anybody's watching this video podcast, let me know who looks more warmy.
Oh, actually, we're in like kind of like Christmas colors because I'm in red.
Oh my god, we are,
green.
aren't we?
Oh my god, we didn't plan this. Totally not planned. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays from the two of us. Christmas Arief and Christmas Rino. I think before we get too far into the shenanigans, we should probably share what the 20M podcast is, like what this is and why we're doing this and why we've both decided to sit down and put each other through just pure pain of speaking to each other on a regular cadence. So I'm going to ask you, Reno, what is the 20M podcast? Why did we start it?
For me, I just think our conversations are really funny, and people should hear them. That's purely.
That's so narcissistic.
No, I think we're funny, and it would be a benefit to the world if they would hear this.
We will single-handedly solve world peace because of how
and
funny
world
this
hunger,
podcast is.
exactly.
And world hunger, got it. Mm-hmm. I agree. I think we're the funniest people that I know. So this had to happen. No, I mean, maybe here's another question before we jump in, right? Like where would people usually know us from? Because I think this is a really important question before I share my thoughts on the podcast. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, where do you think people would know you from?
Me personally, at this point, I guess maybe my streams on Twitch or maybe my shit posts on Twitter. I write a bunch of articles that people read sometimes on various sites, so it might be a bit from here and there. But actually, I was gonna say like how I discovered you, and that was definitely through Twitter. And subsequently on your Twitch and so on and so on. So I guess that's how people might discover you. Would you agree with that?
Via Twitter.
Twitter and then Twitch, or do you think like Twitch and Twitter? Not that it really matters, but
I think I totally agree. I feel like, yeah, most people would know me from Twitter or Twitch. Not that I get stopped by the side of the road. It's like, you know what I mean? That people know me, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I guess, so the only reason why I asked is because like I think on a serious note on the podcast, which is like probably the only serious note that we're going to go through today, right? Mm-hmm. I love that you nod. It's like, yeah, this is literally the only time we're going to be serious. I think so like we both create content on Twitch. We're both active on Twitter. But I feel like as much as I feel like our streams oscillate between at least on my side, like playing Southeast Asian indie games or playing like Final Fantasy JRPG-esque type titles. But I feel like there was a space where I definitely needed an outlet to talk about other stuff that weren't just Southeast Asian indie games or how much I love Final Fantasy 13. So I feel like this is a space for us to do so. And also I feel like we've been speaking so much off content that I feel like so many of our conversations just had to be recorded because we're hilarious people.
Yeah. It's not because like I'm gonna murder you one day and you need this as evidence, right?
Yeah, just imagine submitting 70 podcast episodes as evidence, and some poor soul has to listen to each podcast episode.
Look, if we get to 70 episodes of this podcast, like that's an achievement in and of itself. They should be proud to listen to it in the court of law.
Of course. For all you lawyers out there, that's totally accurate. Right?
All right, so to summarize, we stream on Twitch, but we do very specific things, and we wanted like an outlet where we could talk about other stuff besides what we stream.
That's correct. What kind of other stuff do you think we'll be talking about? On the 20M podcast. I feel like just the more that I say the 20M podcast, the more it's gonna like become a real thing, you know?
Well, like fairies, like the more you...
Yeah, the more we believe in the 20M podcast, the more of an actual podcast it'll be.
Yeah. I really want to talk about obviously, like, we'll talk about games, but I want to talk about anime because I'm a weeb, and manga, and all that good stuff. What do you want to talk about?
Anime, because I'm a weeb, you know. It's funny because we started the podcast by saying the 20M podcast is a podcast, like, is a show about disagreeing with your friends. And I feel like anime is one of those topics that we're going to hard disagree on.
Oh my god, that's gonna... Yep.
But maybe that's for a future conversation.
Yes.
So I just want to talk about anything you want to talk about and then violently disagree with all your opinions. So really, this is a podcast about anything and everything. No, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I would love to talk about... I mean, I know we're definitely going to be talking about, like, games for sure. And I think for me, I'm a big... I'm a huge movie guy. I'm a big TV guy. But also, I have, like, genuine thoughts about some pieces of anime that I just need to get off my chest. You know what I mean?
You've seen, like, one anime, bro.
Yeah, the best anime of all time, everybody. I think I even think I have a prop here.
Oh my god. Oh
Come
my
on.
God. What,
Does it...
For the Spotify listeners, I guess, maybe you don't... Oh, look, it's not that I don't agree with your take. Yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice.
That Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion is the best anime of all time.
It is very good. It is not the best anime. You can't watch one anime and then declare that
it's the best anime of all time. Oh my god. Well, I feel like that should be a whole... that should be a future episode where it's like, you know, the Charlie Day meme of like, this is the reason, this is what Evangelion influenced and why everything is just Evangelion. Just in
Are you talking about the conspiracy theory guy?
What?
As in the meme you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is that he has a name?
It's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie Day, like it's Charlie Day's character in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Did you not know that was a thing?
No, I thought it was just some dude. Like a.
What other memes do you not like know of? You know
Come on, okay. All right, like, you know the Indian guy who goes like,
yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know his name, but he's
exactly,
like no, but he's like a
exactly.
manager at PwC who like, you guys, you know what I mean? Did you not see that LinkedIn post? He's like he's a consultant at PwC. I think he's like a manager or something. I don't think he's like a VP level. And he just, that meme became a thing. But he's like, I don't know, probably
did you
making the big
LinkedIn
bucks
search
consulting in New York or something.
All the people in memes.
No, I just live on the internet, unlike some people, you know.
Look, okay, learn something new. Sorry, what was his name again?
I don't know his name, but
No,
I just know.
not the Indian guy, the conspiracy theory.
Not the Indian guy. Charlie Day.
Okay.
He's voicing Luigi in the Mario movie.
Is he?
Oh my god, I refuse to have this conversation with you. It's like, it's...
I just know Jack Black is in it. That's all I'm in it for.
That's a fair...
Also 'cause I
I
can't remember the
can't
other
disagree.
guy's
That's
name.
totally fair.
Like
Chris Pratt?
Star-Lord?
Yeah, Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Star-Lord and Jack Black are in the movie.
Oh my god, maybe we won't talk about movies ever on this podcast because of your like minuscule knowledge of film and pop culture.
It just means I won't be able to disagree as much because I won't know anything.
How did we get here? What were we? I don't know how we get from topic to topic, nor do I think I will ever understand how we get from topic to topic.
All right. Let's try and bring it back. What have you been up to recently?
I've been moving. This is the first piece of content from the new. What should I have a name for this room? You know.
Do people
like, you know
name
how like
their rooms?
Well, you know how like at Facebook there's like the room where it happens off of like Hamilton, and like some people like the Kojima Productions office is called. I actually don't know what the Kojima Productions office is called. But you know how like you can have names
drop
for your
Kojima
offices?
Productions whenever you can.
Of course. Is my favorite auteur. No, I moved into a new spot. I'm very excited, and this is the first piece of content that I'm recording from the new spot. So
looks
that's
good.
what. Thank you. Yeah, we've got very real plants in the corner here.
No, that's fake, right?
It's very real.
How is it getting any sun in that corner?
It doesn't need sun. It's just one of those non-sun plants.
It's just green for the aesthetics, all right? It doesn't actually photosynthesize. Is that what you're saying?
Look, there's enough oxygen here that I don't need the plant to photosynthesize. You know what I mean? Is that what photosynthesis means? Like it's putting oxygen out there?
Yes. The plant takes in carbon dioxide, power the sun, spits out oxygen.
Yep.
Yep.
Mitochondria. Beautiful.
I think we should move on before the scientists
Absolutely.
come after
Look, it's been really uneventful. It's like the Christmas season is the end of year season. I've been playing a lot of games, and we can get into that in a bit. But have you been doing? What you been up to lately?
I most recently I've just been binge watching Alice in Borderland 2, which came out on Netflix on last Thursday.
I'm laughing because I've been observing something on Twitter. Can you walk everybody through what's been going on your Twitter, which also relates to Alice in Borderland?
Okay. So Alice in Borderland 2, obviously season 2, right? So it stems off season 1. And clearly in the name you can tell it's sort of a riff or like a reimagined version of Alice in Wonderland. So the guy's name in the show is Arisu, which is actually a real Japanese name. It's not just like a Japanified version of Alice. So I was like, okay, like clearly he's meant to be like Alice. And then like that happened in 2020 when I first got exposed to Alice in Borderland. And then 2 years later, episode 2, I'm like, oh, the girl whose name is Usagi, which means rabbit in English, like she's the white rabbit, right? And I'm like posting this on Twitter, and I'm like, guys, like I discovered this thing, and everyone is just like, keep up, you know.
It's literally called Alice in Borderland. Like obviously, there's gonna be Alice in Wonderland allusions now.
And then like there's this other guy, right? There's this other guy. His name is Chishiya, and the whole time I'm like, this is my favorite character. He's like really smart, really smug, kind of that like asshole, like I'm smarter than everyone kind of character. And like Chishiya, oh, that's like a pretty unique Japanese name. Like it's kind of cool, okay. And then as I'm like watching the show, I think this is like literally the second last episode of the season. I'm like, oh, he's the cat.
The
Cheshire
Cheshire cat,
Cheshire. Oh, yep. Yeah, so I should just never analyze media ever again.
It's like I think there was like a viral tweet or something a year ago. It's like, oh, like baby's first metaphor in film. You know what I mean? It's like this is the first time you've ever been exposed to like allusions and metaphors or symbolism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. I've been living in the cave for the last 2 years, and then someone handed me this show, and I'm like discovering it.
And I want to like from a third person perspective, I want to reinforce that you were definitely freaking out on Twitter. You were like, it's as if you discovered fire. You know,
basically,
you were like, oh my god, nobody has noticed this before.
no, me. I found out. Even the directors didn't know this clearly. But it's a really good show. You haven't seen it, or
no, I
just trying to move away from my failure.
I haven't seen it.
Do you plan on watching it?
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like there's a lot of marketing push, especially for this season. So I've been seeing a lot of ads on Twitter, and you know me, everybody. The more popular something gets, I'm staying far away from it. That's the reason why I haven't seen Wednesday. You know what I mean? I'm a big Tim Burton fan. I think the lead actor, she seems pretty great, but too many people have seen it. You know what I mean? So like, I can't watch it. So I don't know if I'm gonna watch.
Oh, that's why you play really niche indie games like Final Fantasy 13, right?
Oh yeah, oh, come on. Who else has played Final Fantasy 13? Like, to be realistic about that, nobody's played Final Fantasy 13.
This is lightning, right? Like I'm
oh
always
my
confused.
god, yes. Case in point, dude. Case in point.
Yeah. She's alright. She looks good.
You say as you're wearing a Final Fantasy 8.
You can see.
T-shirt.
I can tell. Yes.
Yes, we're not only Christmassy. I don't think I'm wearing a Final Fantasy shirt. This for the record.
I was surprised. I thought you'd show up with Final Fantasy shirt.
I was surprised as well, but we'll get to the Square episode eventually on episode 72 or whatever, like 2 years from now. What else have you? So that's hilarious. I think like that's the funniest thing that I've seen on Twitter over the past 2 weeks. You freaking out about Alice in Borderland?
Yes. It's a really good show. I mean, does that mean you didn't watch like Squid Game either?
No, I definitely did not watch Squid Game.
Yeah, you don't look like a Squid Game person, I have to say.
like physically or like
yeah, you just don't look like a squid.
I play a lot of Splatoon, alright? That's literally a Squid Game.
That's literally a Squid Game.
Literally a Squid Game. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that either. I'll put it on the list. Like, there's a lot of things to watch. I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, yeah. The list of shows I'm not gonna watch that
The
people
list
keep
of
recommending
shows.
to me.
Well, talk about Wednesday, right? Like, my housemates were like, "You got to watch Wednesday," and I'm like, "Too many people have seen it. I can't watch Wednesday." You know what I mean? I'm probably not gonna like it. And then they were like, "Oh, but like it's Tim Burton directed and Danny Elfman did the music." I'm like, "Okay." It went from like 50 on the list of things that I was gonna watch to like 48. You know, so there's small things that
It
could
went
bump it up.
two rungs up.
There's a lot of things to watch. It's the end of the year. You know,
What
there's
would
a lot
it
of things
take for it
catch
to
up on.
jump like 45 places and be in the top 5?
I don't know if
If you were in it, like that's what it would take.
No, I think if like people stop talking about it, I will watch it. You know, the less people talk about it, the more
It's
intrigued.
like
I am.
everyone shut up, let Arief watch his shows.
It's the same thing. Well, you brought up anime earlier. This is a whole can of worms. I know we have a bigger topic that we wanted to get into, but like I'm gonna open the can a little bit, just like a little tease. You know what I mean? Let the air out from however long the can's been closed for. Attack on Titan, same thing. Everybody, like when I was in Japan last, when I was in Tokyo, every corner you went to, there was like Attack on Titan merch, like billboards, like everything was Attack on Titan. Everybody was telling me to watch it. I watched it, hated it. And not
Like,
because the show is bad, it's probably because everybody is like telling me how good it is, that like the expectations are like skyrocketed. And I'm like, this is like an okay anime. It's really interesting and it like shakes up the formula a little bit, but like the fact that everybody's talking about it, I don't like it.
But like which episode? Like where did you get up to? Like
First half season 2 stopped.
first half of season 2. Oh, I mean, okay, so you gave it a pretty good go then.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's not like here's another one for you. I'm gonna open up the can just a little bit more, just like pry it like halfway through. You know what I mean? The opening. My Hero Academia.
Oh, I've never
Everybody
seen
was
that.
like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna tell
Never seen
everybody
it.
here, it is terrible." No,
It looks goofy and not like I'm not saying it's good or bad because I've not seen it, but it does not look like an Arief show. I will have to say.
it's not Neon Genesis Evangelion.
No, it's not an analysis of like the inner thoughts
The
of like,
human condition.
yeah, it's just like punch kick, let's fight kind of show. So I can't
Yes.
imagine you'd be into that.
Yeah. All right, I'm closing up the little can. We'll open up the can in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to? Okay, so format wise, just to keep everybody up to speed on what we're doing here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 20M podcast. If you're just joining us, it is Arief and it is Rino, and we're just catching up about our lives and how much we collectively hate Attack on Titan.
Hey, leave me out of that. Leave me out.
We
of that.
could.
I'm not.
The
let-
20M
let-
podcast reviews Attack on Titan a 1 out of 5 stars. You know.
I'm not here. If the fans come for you, if the Attack on Titan fans come for you, I'm not here.
Well, I wouldn't know what they're talking about, you know, so you would have to educate me on like what they'd be saying.
No, they'd be
But-
saying they hate you. That's what they're saying. What do you mean?
You're right. I don't know. Well, okay, but to talk about what we actually came here to talk about. So, I guess for those that are just joining us again, so we had a topic in mind, like a main topic that we wanted to cover for the first episode, the inaugural episode of the 20M podcast,
Yes.
and it is. Tell me the date today, Rita.
It's the 27th of December.
It's the 27th of December. The year 2022 is coming to an end. It's been a productive year. Did we meet this year?
Did we meet in person? Or
No,
meet
when did we first like get to know each other?
this year?
Was this
Because
year? Yeah. So
because
it's been a
we-
terrible year. I've hated it. It's been the worst year possible.
Yeah, from the moment we met online.
All
been
downhill.
downhill.
Like I'm coerced into starting this podcast with you, like against my being blackmailed into this. No, 2022. It's been a ridiculous year. I wanted to talk about like how 2022 was for us and the things that we watched, the things that we played, the things that we experienced. Like, what are some major memories of 2022? Because I feel like we're in like a little bit of a reflection kind of time, right? Do you want to kick it off? Do you want to like do you want to start this 2022 in retrospect?
In retrospect, I guess like game wise, I started Genshin in 2020. I'm still playing Genshin in 2022.
Shocker.
Not a lot has changed. Look, it's gotten a lot better this year. So, I mean, you're obviously a very well versed Genshin player, as people know you
I know
as.
all the Genshins.
You know all the Genshins, the different Genshins. I mean, the game releases like an update like basically every 3 weeks, so it's a game that keeps pushing out content. They've only missed a deadline like twice, I think, in the last 2 years of releasing stuff nonstop every 3 weeks, which is pretty amazing. And the biggest drop, I think, is 3.0. So that's when they released Sumeru, which is like an entirely new region. So every year they release a new area. First year was like, Mondstadt and Liya, so the area inspired by Germany and China. And then last year was Inazuma, which was the area inspired by Japan. So Sumeru is kind of, I think, sort of riff on like the Middle East part of the world. But aside from an entirely new area, is they released a new element. So the Dendro element. So like Genshin is based on like different, like Pokemon, right? There's like fire, water, ice, etc., etc. So this is like the grass type, basically. And with
Wasn't the grass type there before?
No, it wasn't. There were grass slimes and like enemies who had Dendro magic, but you didn't have playable characters who could use Dendro magic, Dendro, the element. And by introducing that, because Genshin is such a reaction-based game, which is different from Pokemon in that sense, it changes everything, right? Like, why are you laughing? I'm so serious right now.
No, I know, and I think it's amazing. I think it's beautiful, but I didn't think we were gonna get into like a thesis of Genshin Impact, and like, it sounds like you're about to go on like the PhD that you wrote of Genshin and its lore. You know what I mean?
To our like 5 listeners, this is Arief telling me to shut up. Basically, Genshin was pretty good this year, more so than previous years. That was one game that I am still playing.
Well, I'll like add to this a little bit because I restarted Genshin this year, and I think it was mostly because of you. Talk about coercion. I'm pretty sure you forced me to get back into Genshin.
It's our entire relationship, right? Just me coercing you into stuff.
Correct. Against my will. And I actually really enjoyed it. I feel like it was a good reacclimation because it is a little bit overwhelming. I found it like quite boring, I think 2 years ago when I stopped. But once I got in, I think like the day 3 of restarting Genshin, I like dropped like $100 on like trying to pull characters. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, I'm back in, everybody. I'm back in. Do I have Jean yet? No, I still don't have Jean, and it's been a long 3-year process at this point.
You sound like a gambling addict who left the casino and came back and was like, "I'm here, guys."
That's why I stopped Genshin. I kept pulling for, and I didn't even stream. Like I don't even like do stream pulls or whatever. I just like dropped so much money on trying to get this one character, the best character of them all.
Yeah, Jean, who you still do not have.
Which I still do not have, yeah. But it's but then I hear that like the TCG update is live. So I mean, and you're right. I think I got back in right before 3.0. But it seems like it has like this resurgence of a lot more. Not that it ever went away, but like it still seems like one of those games that people are jumping into.
Yeah, I think it's attracting a different player base. Like not necessarily people who are not playing Genshin, but there are definitely people who play Genshin and who are not interested in endgame content or not interested in creating characters that deal crazy damage. So it's great that TCG is in there, so it people can work towards that instead if they don't want to be focused so much on damage, for example.
I have a quick question. How would you describe the Genshin community?
Feral.
Okay.
It's just like it's the wildest community that I've ever been in. Like even if Genshin just made the company, like Hoyoverse just made no content updates, I think the community could self-sustain for like 50 years just on memes and like headcanons, just like making stuff up between characters, and that's just like enough. That's enough for us to keep going. It's like artists, writers, I don't know, it's just like people who create Genshin mods. Yeah, I don't know. It's a wild community.
Yeah, we saw a pretty good Genshin mod yesterday, didn't we? I'm gonna let you explain that or roll past it.
So what games did you play?
There was the only reason why I asked you before we move on from Genshin, the only reason why I asked you is that whoever's listening to this, I'm looking you right in the eye right now. If you haven't experienced humiliation and being belittled in a while, all you have to do is get Reno to judge your Genshin character and stats. Because there was this one time I was like week 2 into Genshin or something, and on Reno's stream on twitch.tv/Renoska, they were like, oh, let's look at everybody's characters, because you can go on a website, right? And you can check everybody's characters and stats. And as you pulled mine up, I think you and the rest of your community were like, why do you have that accessory for this person? You're not optimizing this. I can't believe you're using this weapon over here. And I was like, what the heck? Like, this is not what I expected.
Look,
like,
I remember trying to be super supportive, but like, I don't remember exactly what we were looking at. But in like, say,
that's
Pokemon,
very reassuring. Thank you.
Say if it was like in Pokemon terms, it was like you gave your Charmander like a water stone, and we were just being like, Arief, like, we want to be supportive, but what do you want your Charmander to do with this water stone? You know?
I can confirm, everybody, I do not put water stones on my Charmander because first of all, Charmander doesn't even need a stone to evolve, all right? Or
that's the level. That's the level of audacity of what we saw in your account. But that's not a reason to stop playing. That's not a reason.
I definitely stopped playing after that. That was like one of the reasons why I was like, okay, maybe I'm like in over my head. Anyway, Genshin, what a great game. I might jump in to play TCG because I'm a big TCG guy. So I'm excited. What else? What other games did we play in 2022? What are some major moments for you or for us? Why are you laughing?
So I played Color the Lamb, which I adored for like maybe 2 weeks. It's a really, really wonderful game. It's designed to be really good for streaming because, you know, you've got the streamer integration where your followers, like your viewers can be named after your followers in the game and all that sort of stuff. But I just remember that like one stream you came on and you were like a dissenter, like a follower who was already built in to like cause havoc in my cult, and I was like, this is so on brand for Arief, and I had no choice but to put you in jail.
Yeah, I think it was like 10 minutes into me existing in your world, I was like put in jail or something. I had no control over that, for the record. Like I didn't have anything to do with that.
It was totally random. It was just like because, all right, well, I don't know if like the listeners like have played Call the Lamb or whatever, but like half of the game is like what do you call it? Like community building,
Town
base building, yeah. So that part is like when you meet a follower outside, or when you somehow trigger an event where you gain a follower, and if you're streaming, then it kind of pulls up like a raffle, so people who are your viewers, they can jump into the raffle, and then they just get randomly assigned this person, and the characteristics are not known. It's all sort of RNG, and it just felt so on brand that the one that you got was just this evil dude with like red eyes. It was like, and the game comes up, it's like, oh no, there's a dissenter in the midst. If you don't like do something, like re-educate him, he's gonna like tell everyone to like leave or something like that. And I was like, I can't have that. I can't have Arief disrupting my cult.
And I think Cult of the Lamb wasn't the end of that. I feel like you saw my Cult of the Lamb avatar and how much havoc he was causing, and then you also took it out on me in person. Because in the weeks preceding, I'm pretty sure you bullied me like extensively throughout our conversations.
I mean, I didn't send you to jail in real life, so I feel like
I should thank you for not sending me to jail. Yeah, I haven't done Cult of the Lamb yet. I know I was surprised because we did this. So there was a Game Awards screening over here, like an IMAX screening, I think in collaboration with TGV, which is a local cinema here in Malaysia, and Kakucha Pire. And they did this little predictions sheet right before the showing. And let me just tell you, everybody, I won that predictions sheet. Out of all the people that went, I got first place because, you know, I'm great at predictions. Because I think of how the masses think, you know, except when it comes to Attack on Titan or My Hero Academia. But the only question that I got wrong, I think it was like out of 6 questions or 5 questions, the only one that I got wrong was like I put Cult of the Lamb as like best indie game, and I think Stray won best indie game at the Game Awards.
You can't beat the cat people, man. Like you just can't.
Right. Cults versus cats. You're right. Yeah. No, but I've been meaning to check out Cult of the Lamb. I've seen so many streams of them. I've been put in jail apparently, but that's an indie game that has escaped me this year.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful, and I think it's a game that I'll probably try and complete off stream. Because just like what I was saying before, it was a bit overwhelming to stream it. Even though it's got so many great features that makes it great for streaming, it's just really stressful. To try and keep everyone happy in like because if you're playing independently, these are just your followers, and you don't really have a connection or an attachment with them. But when I was streaming, it was like, oh, I can't let so and so die. He's like a regular, like if he dies, like I'm gonna do this thing that will like resurrect him. And stop pointing at yourself, Arif. You're still in jail.
Yeah, you threw me to the curb instantly. Why don't you have these feelings for me? It's like I'm really insulted.
Anyway, so yeah, I found it really hard to try and keep doing things that made viewers interested and engaged was often like at odds with what I should actually be doing in the game. And I found myself like running low on like all sorts of resources, which I could have done if I just didn't care. And it was just kind of like a nice parallel to real life. Like it's a lot easier to just go out and work and like fight monsters and die. Like that's less stressful than trying to like manage your relationships.
Yeah, this is what the developers are really banking on, just like a metaphor for your life. Yeah, our lives are just dungeon crawlers, like Metroidvanias. They're not Metroidvanias. What is it? Like roguelites?
Yeah.
Roguelikes, rather. Yeah, I do want to play that one, but I can see how I can see how that's totally one of those games that you will definitely play off stream as well, just to wrap it up, but also not worry too much about feeding your Twitch children or something like that.
Yeah, they are children basically. Love you guys. So what about you, Arif? What have you played this year?
Well, this one's been it's been a pretty productive year in games. Infamously, I know that I know a lot of friends of mine say that I never finish my games, which I do, for the record. You know what I mean? Okay, I don't need that judgment. Right? You can tone it down a little bit here. I do finish my games. No, so I don't know. I started. So talk about the big ones. Most recently, I think like a really memorable one was God of War Ragnarok. So that one was like a great, the AAA behemoth of a game. I think in addition to that, like Elden Ring, but some of the games that were super memorable for me in 2022, before getting to some of the indie ones, is like I played Dark Souls for the first time.
Oh, really? Like the first Dark Souls, or
I'm pretty sure that was this year. I'm pretty sure that was this year.
I mean, 2022 just felt like it went on and on, right? Like,
yeah.
How was it?
I hated it. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like multiple streams. Like some of my most successful clips on Twitch is me dying from Dark Souls 1. But 2, I'm pretty sure like this is the first time I was ever so frustrated. Like I haven't felt this way since I was like 4 years old. But I played like the final boss in Dark Souls. There's 2 bosses. I think like a couple bosses before the final boss, and then the final boss. I'm pretty sure I just cried on stream, like due to sadness, frustration, just like an overwhelmingness of emotions. Like I got so angry, sad, confused that I like just cried on camera. And
wow.
I despise it. I can't recommend the first Dark Souls to anybody, but I will 100% recommend people play Bloodborne or Elden Ring and like FromSoft games. I just have a very, very touchy spot with Dark Souls.
I don't think I'll ever pick it up. Like,
you will cry.
Isn't it too dark to see anything?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's like you gotta put the brightness up.
Yeah, I hate that. So like like movies like Lord of the Rings and like all your dark fantasies.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting next to like my friends or my family in the cinemas. I'm like, what's happening? I can't see.
Okay, first of all, I think you need to get your eyes checked because that should not be happening. Like I know when like there's dark color grading or like they shoot some things like there was that one episode of House of the Dragon that was like you could barely see anything, but it's because they shot that in broad daylight, right? So like they probably toned the color grading all the way down or whatever have you. But you should get your eyes checked out, dude. Okay, wait. So when you boot up a video game and it says like adjust the brightness like until you can barely see the logo, do you just put the brightness like all the way up?
Pretty much. I'm like, I want to see everything. Like,
man.
So yeah, that is actually the only reason why. That's pretty much the only reason why I haven't played any Dark Souls game. Not because it's like too difficult.
It's literally too dark for you.
It's too dark.
Another game that I played was I want to talk about 2 quick Final Fantasy moments.
Yeah.
So the first one is Final Fantasy 15. I played Final Fantasy 15 for the first time this year, and long story short, I started it when it came out. I did not enjoy it. and
Okay.
I didn't touch it since. And then there's some sort of like, I think like on Twitch, or I don't remember if it was on Game Pass or more people had access to Final Fantasy 15. But I feel like over the past 2 years, people have been like really talking about 15.
Mhm.
So I played that for the first time, and I guess like I just cry at all the games that I played.
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out at the end of Final Fantasy 15, and it's like that's also another love-hate relationship because it could have been my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Wait, so you
Um,
cried because it was so meaningful? Or you
Oh no,
cried
it was
'cause
so
just-
meaningful. But
Okay.
at the same time, it was like I could have cried more and loved it more, you know. So it was like the first threshold of liking it, which is like
Okay.
crying. I don't know. Did you play Final Fantasy 15? Have you played Final Fantasy 15?
I did not, but like more importantly, I'm starting to see the correlation between like how good a game is and how much Arief cries. Is that sort of like the benchmark, the cryometer?
I think so, actually. Yeah, you're right. Like all the games, yeah, all my favorite games, I cry when I think about them. Yeah. Wow, we should put a list together. Like, cried
a
the
cry
most.
list.
Yeah, like a cry
cry
list
list.
of video games. Just getting emotional thinking about it right now.
No, I didn't play 15, but I am excited for 16 though after seeing that trailer that dropped during the Game Awards.
Yes, I think very excited about 16 as well. Talk about one last thing before I ask you another game or thing that you've done this year. One of my most memorable titles, AAA wise, Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Shocked it wasn't
okay.
nominated for any awards, but it is not a great Final Fantasy game. Let me just put it out there. It's like their take on a Souls like Neo, Dark Souls kind of game. But I just had so much fun playing it because I played with a couple of my friends who also love Final Fantasy, and we played multiplayer throughout almost the entire game.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
such a fun experience. Like it is so weirdly a multiplayer experience for me.
It's not like an MMO like 14.
No, not like
It's
14,
just
yeah.
multiplayer.
Yeah, like you just squad up with like 3 other people, and it's like action combat.
So like, what
I,
makes it not a good game?
it's just really corny. Have you not seen the trailers of like
No, I've no
Jack
idea.
just like chaos, like we gotta kill chaos or whatever?
But isn't that what they always do?
But in a way where it's like he literally like puts on earphones midway through a boss's like soliloquy, if you will, you know, and just like I'm getting out of here.
It's like me when you talk to me, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, no, but that sounds cool. I love games that have like a good multiplayer element. I'm a big co-op fan.
Have you played any co-op games this year?
Besides Genshin Impact.
Oh my god, yeah. Besides Genshin Impact.
No, like it's like pretty famously known amongst like my viewers. Like the only boss in Genshin I never fight is Barbados. Sorry, not Barbados. Is Storm Terror because it's the only boss you can't co-op. Like I don't think I've seen him in like 8 months, bro. Poor dude. He's
You
like,
haven't checked in
"Oh,
on him. Like, you don't know if he's
No.
fed or
Don't
whatever.
know he's okay. Yeah, he's like a Neopet that's
Yeah.
been left for 10 years.
All our Neopets have been left for like 10 years, just sitting in Flash, you know?
Just dying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I guess that's my 2022, like, AAA wise in a nutshell.
What about like some indie titles?
Well, obviously, I played a lot of Southeast Asian games, and I think you have played a handful, a couple, maybe one at the very
What
least.
did I play this year? I played Simulacra, and then
Great
we
Southeast
played
Asian title.
Simulacra 3.
We did play Simulacra 3. Simulacra 3, made by Kaigan Games here in Malaysia and published by Neon Doctrine.
Yeah.
How would you describe Simulacra 3? How was that for you? How was our stream of Simulacra 3?
I mean, like, I still remember one of the messages that chat gave, which just described the stream in a nutshell. It was like, came here for like a horror stream, ended up joining a telemarketing stream. So for people who don't know, like, Simulacra 3 is a game that takes place entirely on like a phone interface, right? Like, so you explore things through the phone, you chat to people, you unlock parts of the phone. It kind of behaves in like a weird way, like a weird ominous way. Like parts of it is like corrupted. There's like a map and all sorts of things. Like, so everything's on the phone. And for some reason, like when Arief and I realized that you could call businesses, because when we were on the map, it had, like Google Maps, it has like the number. We became like obsessed for about the next 45 minutes with like trying to call this coffee shop, but we couldn't get the area code to work, and so the call just never went through.
Look, in our defense, everybody, again, cementing the fact that you play literally on a phone, right? Like it's literally a phone. It makes a lot of sense that you use the phone to call other people. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't use the phone to go check Google or like go on Maps or whatever. It's like, oh, I need to call somebody. So, yeah, we probably spent like 40 minutes trying to call.
It was a very
Trying to get the phone to
long
work.
time.
Yeah, and then we actually started to move on with the game by not calling people.
We were like, oh, okay, this is actually not integral to the story. We don't need to do this.
Yeah, that was a fun one though. I feel like that's definitely. I don't know. I feel like a lot of horror games come out of Southeast Asia, but I know that one in particular. It's like it's such a cool format, and I'm also really glad I played it with somebody else because there's no way in heck I would have played that one alone.
Oh yeah, same. I don't think I'm gonna continue it unless I have someone next to me.
Well, we'll do a follow-up.
We'll do
Simulacra.
follow-ups.
Yeah, but we actually take it seriously and we actually progress through the story.
Yeah.
Did you play any other Southeast Asian games this year?
What else did I play this year? Was that it? That might have been it, actually. But you're the pro. You're the resident.
I played like
Southeast
16 Southeast Asian games.
You played
Let me tell you.
16.
You know what I mean? No, I don't think so. I'm gonna list them off because there's some that I want to get into and there's some that I just want to mention. So I played. These are not all. These are the ones that I think like are of most memory. But I played The Company Man by Malaysian-based Forest Studio.
Oh yeah, that looks like a good one.
Yeah, it was a really fun one. Kataria Fables as well from Twin Hearts from Indonesia. So that's like a fun farming cat sim. Samudra most recently by Khayalan Arts, which is like very inside-y. But then I think like the two that were very memorable for me was Potion Permit and My Lovely Wife. So I don't know why. I don't know if I want to tell the story of why we're laughing. You know what I mean?
You need to. Oh my god.
I guess we'll just get into it. So first of all, like to not get away from this amazing title called My Lovely Wife. It's a beautiful Indonesian developed game by Game Changer Studio, published by Neon Doctrine as well. And it's basically this like potion crafting it's a game where you basically like summon succubi and then like get them to grow traits, and then you sacrifice the succubi because you're playing as this dude who wants to summon the perfect succubi to put his dead wife's soul into the succubi so she can live again, right? So it's a really cool management sim. It's a follow-up to My Lovely Daughter. They're amazing. It's an amazing game. Go check it out. But this game is haunting me quite literally because as most of you know, I stream Southeast Asian games on Twitch, and as you know, Reno, you always got to put the go live tweet out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so usually I would say like, hey, you know, we're playing, for example, Potion Permit. Please come by the stream, right? Yeah. I wasn't thinking that day. I was like rushing out to get the go live tweet going, and in my tweet, go live tweet, I said, "Hey everybody, tonight's Southeast Asian Nights. Tonight's a Southeast Asian Night stream, and we're jumping into My Lovely Wife."
How could you not?
And I didn't think anything about it. Like it's like, oh, we're jumping into My Lovely Wife, right? And then about like 2 minutes go by, and I'm already live on Twitch, and like my notifications just pop off. It's like, what are you?
What?
You're jumping into what?
What?
You know what I mean? Like, oh, it must be nice to jump into Your Lovely Wife. Like, it's been hilarious. You know what I mean? So to this day, I it haunts me. Like, I will never say like we will be playing My Lovely. Even that's like kind of promiscuous. It's kind of dodgy. Yeah. Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah. I never forget for some reason. Like that was just one of your most iconic tweets.
Yeah, never make that mistake, everybody. We will be commencing the playthrough of My Lovely Wife. That's what I should have said.
Look, when they come up with My Lovely Husband, I'll be jumping into that one.
Oh man. Anyway, yeah, those are some of the Southeast Asian games that I played. I know some other ones that came out this year that I didn't play are like Gigabash.
Yeah. I was gonna say that was actually the other one I played. That was the other game I played.
How did you like it?
Well, I tried. So they were at Tokyo Game Show, which I mean we can talk about a bit later, and I was really excited going to check it out. I played. Like there was like the controls like it was empty, so I picked one up, and I remember there were like 2 or 3 other people because like a 4-person. It can be go up to 4 players. And I won my first round, so obviously, like, it's my favorite game of all time. It's really cool. I think it has a lot of replayability value, especially if you're, with friends. It's a great party game, that kind of vibe. And I just love how it's like the recent DLC actually that they announced I think a few weeks ago has like Godzilla in it, which is like insane to think of, like, this Malaysian, so it's like Passion Republic Games, right? They're like a Malaysian studio, and they're collabing with such an amazing big IP that everyone knows worldwide. I think that's really cool. But then they've got like they've created other kaiju in the game. So there's like one that I really like. Her name is like Rohana. So she's kind of based on the hibiscus, which is a national.
Oh, that's the plant one, yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, and I know this is a super hard tangent, but like the third evolution of the plants Digimon. In the first Digimon. Yeah, Palmon's like third evolution, like Lilymon or something like that.
Lilymon, yeah. It's the same color scheme.
Yeah, it reminds me of Lilymon.
Yeah. I think this would be like the mega form of Palmon though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I remember I was chatting with them because I was doing an article about it, and they were saying like it's like Ro, because Ro means like spirit in Malay, and then Hana, which means flower in Japanese. So they wanted to name something that had like both cultures together, which I thought was like a really nice sort of sentiment. And the fact that you've got these like new kaiju versus the OG like Godzilla, right? It's like a very like nice sort of passing of the baton onwards to like the future of kaiju, if you're into that space. So yeah, it was really.
That's
really
so
sweet.
beautiful. Like, I didn't know you could make a kaiju brawler have like such meaning.
I think especially with kaiju, like the kaiju genre in general, and Godzilla. Like I didn't really grow up with that. I think that kind of predated my time, but I think it does have a lot of significance for people outside of Japan. So like, in Malaysia, I think they probably had it like Ultraman and Godzilla, and it was all kind of like dubbed in Malay, and it was just something you had on like regular TV. So it's nice. It's nice that something that is very inherently, part of Japanese like entertainment, like the history of that also has like a lot of significance in Southeast Asia as well. So it's a great tie-up.
I totally agree. I'll tell two quick stories about Gigabash. And again, I haven't played it yet, and I really, I'll probably boot it up in the next like week or so. Mm-hmm. But my cousin, who's not like a hardcore gamer, but we would connect every couple of months or so. It's not one of those things that we would talk every day kind of a thing, but when we do talk, it's like we find passion in the things that we talk about or things that we do. I remember one time he was like, "Hey, I know you play Southeast Asian games. Have you heard about Gigabash?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been following the game for a couple of years. It's really cool or whatever." He's like, "You don't understand, dude. I played it at like the mall because they did like trade shows or whatever, or like road shows." And he said, "I played it at the mall. I talked to the developers and I fell in love with this game." And then when it released, he was like, "Dude, I'm in their Discord. I'm trying to find people to play with me. Can you please get the game?" And I'm like, I'm so like taken aback, and I find it so beautiful how much you love Gigabash, But I could see that very much. It's like they've got I buy Gigabash merch whenever I see them at shows, and I haven't played the game yet. I think there's something really special about it. But the second thing I'll say is that, look, if you're working at Passion Republic right now, and I know some of you guys, and I know I've actively told some of you guys this, but if there isn't an Evangelion DLC like roadmap for the future of this game, like you guys are missing out. You know what I mean? Like you're already at the top. You've already got Godzilla in the game, like you said, from this Southeast Asian title, this amazing Malaysian developed title. Getting Godzilla, huge get. You know what would make millions of dollars? Like Ava Unit 1, put one of the angels in there, put Ava Unit 1, you'll sell millions. I will literally buy 1 million copies of Gigabash if that happens. But you're right, it's a very, very kaiju-esque, and I love the trajectory that they're on. It seems like an amazing game.
I mean, and the art is beautiful. That makes sense that you want to buy all the merch. Like Wooly is so cute.
So cute. Oh my god. Yeah. I bought 2 Wooly pins. Did I give you
You gave me one. You can't see it. It's like somewhere up, it's up there. I've got it. It's adorable.
Yeah, major love to those folks. I really want to play it. I think I'll play it soon.
We should play it. We should definitely play it.
Oh my god, we should totally play it.
Destroy the remnants of our friendship in PvP.
Absolutely. Not that there's any semblance of a friendship that to begin with. You mentioned something earlier, Tokyo Game Show. I know that's one thing that we wanted to touch base on. You went to Tokyo Game Show this year. How was that experience for you?
It was my very first time. Not even not just at Tokyo Game Show, but just at any sort of game convention ever. So I was really excited, and it's huge as well, as you might know. I think it's the biggest in Asia or something like that. Someone can fact check that. I was pretty nervous. It was like my first time going there as as a, I guess, quote unquote journalist. I don't know. Covering games, and I knew that there were going to be a lot of like indie developers and people from Southeast Asia that I really wanted to meet. And I think for not just for me, but just for Tokyo Game Show in its entirety, because of the last 2 years where we haven't had events, it was like a nice comeback. And not just like for games in Japan, but the fact that people could fly in and talk about their games. So there was like a huge Malaysian like pavilion, and then there was one for Hong Kong, for Korea, and then Singapore. There were a few. I don't think there was like a collective group, but there were like a couple of like Singaporean developers there. It was really cool. I think I spent a lot more time in the indie section just talking to people more so than the triple A's. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to next year for sure.
Did you write something? Is there somewhere we can find your work from Tokyo Game Show?
I did so many pieces. I did a couple for Kotaku. I did more than a couple, but for some reason the only one that comes to mind is the one that I did about the VR onsen.
I knew it. Can you please tell the story? I think this is a phenomenal one. This is one of my favorite pieces of yours.
So, okay, like, backtrack. I'm at Tokyo Game Show, walking around. Every studio, every dev is trying to catch your attention with a really eye-catching sort of display of some sort, right? And I look to my left, and there's, like, a girl who is basically implied nude, sitting inside what is supposed to be... not even like an onsen. She was basically sitting in, like, a tub. It's just like a hot tub stream without the stream, you know? Right? But obviously it's not actually a real one. She's just kind of like probably sitting in a chair, but then the front of it is like meant to look like a tub. And I'm like, okay, like you've got me. Like, what is this? So
It worked.
It worked. And I'm sure it worked for many people. She was amazing. And she gave one of the people gave me a flyer. I was like, oh, okay, so she's actually cosplaying one of the girls from this VR onsen game called, I think it's called Koi Koi Onsen, right?
That makes sense.
So I'm reading about the brochure, and then I go online afterwards and I check it out. So it's like visual novel-esque. You're like this guy who's kind of returning to his hometown, and you've inherited like your family business, which is an onsen, a hot spring ryokan kind of space, like a bed and breakfast, I suppose. And the main attraction to it is this cherry blossom tree where it blooms, really beautiful sakura. That's sort of like the main key differentiator for your business. But for some reason, the tree doesn't bloom anymore. And when you talk to the manager of your establishment, she's like, "Oh, if you connect body and soul with one of these girls who are your childhood friends, the tree might bloom again." And like in the description, it's like, if you connect with one or both girls, the tree might bloom again. And it's VR. Let's not forget that part. It's a VR game.
So I need to ask you, Rino, did you connect body and soul to your childhood friends and make the tree blossom?
Unfortunately for me, I did not have a VR set. So I did not get to actually test.
We can fix that, everybody. Subscribe to our Patreon to get Rino to play this onsen VR game.
Yeah, this onsen game. And it was great. Like they were like two girls you could be into. One was very sort of like young and cute. One was sort of very like sultry and sexy. They've got the dichotomy of like hetero men's taste down. It's either this girl or this girl. There's no in between. Basically.
That makes sense. I mean, that's all women are, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's only two women. There's only two types of women in the world. That's it.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that article. I can't remember if it was like I saw that article or like you were telling me about that you were writing that article. But I was like, stop everything else. Like, God bless you, Gigabash. But this is your experience going through this and writing about this game is like my favorite thing out of TGS.
Yeah, breaking news. This should have had a Game of the Year nomination.
I'm shocked. Not enough people have VR headsets,
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool bit, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think like TGS is a fascinating one. I'm super jealous. I really hope to get to TGS next year. Like I've told people, it's like I don't care what I'm doing. Like I'm going to TGS next year. because I felt like major FOMO. But I know there was like a lot of trade shows like this year in Southeast Asia as well, or here in Asia in general.
Yeah,
So
what
I
did
remember
you
like
attend?
I know like Level Up KL was the first one. Like you said, it was the first convention that I've been to in a while. And I think it's crazy because so I've been working with developers and publishers for like 2 years now, right? For Southeast Asian night streams and whatnot. But and you know, like much like how we got connected, just making Twitter friends in the game space or content space. But I remember Level Up KL was such a cool one because you had everybody showing off their games, and I got to meet a lot of folks that you know I knew online. But it was also seeing friends that I've only had online. So you know, I think like you know the folks at Toge Productions come to mind. Like it was the first time I ever met Sarah from Toge, head of marketing at Toge, right? And it was just so weird and hilarious because it's like we've been tweeting at each other for 2 years and we have like this online relationship, and then you meet in person and you're like, wow, you're a lot taller than I, you know what I mean, expected. It's like, and I feel really short, you know. Or, no, but it's like that, you know, that happened at Level Up KL, and like same thing at Gamescom Asia in Singapore. It was just seeing so many people you would see online in the games industry in person, which is like I don't think something people really talk about, because usually you would talk about the games or the experiences or the booths or things like that. So that was a very fun 2022 experience.
Yeah, I think that kind of thing is hard to replicate like virtually, like that sort of like in-person connection that you develop with people. So that's really awesome that these cons have come back this year. But like more importantly, with some of these events, you had a speaking engagement, right?
I swear this one wasn't planned. I swear I wasn't going to mention the panel. Well, yes, I was on a 82-minute panel specifically. Yeah, no, I was blessed to be asked by Andreas from Virtual Southeast Asia. He was hosting a panel at Gamescom Asia in Singapore, centered around Southeast Asian games and cultural influences in Southeast Asian games. So I was a panelist alongside some amazing folks. Hannah from Secret Six. Who else was there? These are my friends, right? Like who else? Sakina from Persona Theory, and Rina from Mojkin Studio. So yeah, we were just sharing. They were sharing about experiences on maybe the development side or people making games, and I was sharing some experiences of somebody who covers games or what it means to have Southeast Asian games like out there. So yeah, that was also like a very interesting, beautiful experience, because on one side you would have like Gamescom Asia was amazing because you had the person who like helped develop Angry Birds, you know what I mean, or like the cinematic director in Blizzard, and it's like these amazing, prestigious, very well off careered game developers, and then you had like folks like me like walking up on stage like, hi guys, I stream Southeast Asian games and I cry every single time I think about when the past was around, you know. But I'm very blessed. I know that was amazing. But maybe just a segue from that to like important moments in the Southeast Asian game space. It was so cool to see a friend of the show, June from Xbox. He had a whole panel at Gamescom Asia as well, talking about like Xbox's expansion to Southeast Asia, and I thought that was just so cool, seeing that like Game Pass or games that are on Game Pass from Southeast Asian developers and a whole panel dedicated to like Xbox in Southeast Asia, like things like that were pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best segue we've had for the last hour, like talking about how great June is. We could have an entire episode about how great June is. Like, the man is like one of the most wholesome people I've ever met, and he like genuinely cares about games, and specifically I think like games in Southeast Asia and supporting everyone. Like, if you just read his tweets, he's like replying to everybody, being like, hey, how can I help you? Hey, this is amazing. He's just a hype man for the world, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's like everybody deserves to game, you know what I mean? Like everything should come to Game Pass. Yeah, no, that's very much. I think like at Gamescom Asia, I think like he finished his panel and I was like, all right, everybody, we're going to Shake Shack. It's a whole crowd of people. It's like, all right, Shake Shack, yeah, Xbox. It was so funny. Which, by the way, Shake Shack is amazing. Just putting that down for the record. Here on the 20M podcast, we love Shake Shack collectively.
Why do you say?
And we collectively hate Attack on Titan.
Please, I'm just like here squirming, trying to get out of being
We
canceled.
love Shake Shack, everybody. We love gluten. Well, I think, yeah, I think those are most of the things. Like, what else encapsulated 2022 for you? Trade shows. We talked about games. Talked about trade shows. How else? What other things happened this year?
I mean, I was unfortunately not able to make it to the Southeast Asian shows that you mentioned, but getting to hang out with you, Anjun, and another friend of ours, Brian, in Singapore was very cool. And we got to go visit the
We got to visit the Geek Culture office.
Yeah, we did. Like, I just keep in my head, I'm just like Infinity Gauntlet office.
Yes.
Because they do have just like an obscene amount of Infinity Gauntlets there.
For a context, right? Just to give some color to the people that are listening or watching, Geek Culture, an amazing publication out there in Singapore. We were fortunate enough. The girl brought us to the office. It was beautiful, and their office is insane. Like they have every collectible known to man in there, but for some reason, there's like 20 Infinity Gauntlets throughout the office.
20 is understating it. I think they have at least 50. They have like little mini ones, and then they have like a giant Thanos in like the foyer. Of,
I
like,
forgot
the
about the
ground
giant
floor.
Thanos in the foyer.
Yeah. So it's a very cool office.
Yeah, if anybody goes to the Geek Culture office, you can steal an Infinity Gauntlet, and I doubt they would find it missing because they're just gonna pop up with another Infinity
Another one.
Gauntlet
It's
there.
like if you take one, like five will replace it basically.
Yeah.
It's like they're like mushrooms.
Why mushrooms? Why?
I don't know.
Like they just mushrooms are known for just like self-replicating. There's like so many other things you could have said other than mushrooms.
Like what would you have said?
Like a hydra.
A hydra.
It's more after than mushrooms. Like people, when you think mushrooms, you don't think, oh, another one's gonna pop up. You know
yeah,
what I
but
mean?
like stealing
you think
an Infinity
hydra, it's
Gauntlet
like
is nothing like killing a hydra.
yeah, tell that to the flipping Avengers, right? No, that was a fun one. I love their office, and I did like seeing people in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore was fun. It was a good time. So
I love how it's just like, and then it's just like no conversation beyond that. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
I hated hanging out with Brian and hanging out with June.
but that's gonna be clipped. We're just gonna out of context clip.
I love Valhalla so much. Everybody should go play Valhalla for the record.
I feel like you should talk about Valhalla. That's a game that you cannot stop talking about that you did not bring up in your game highlights of 2022.
Yeah, is this the right forum? Because I want to do a whole episode on Valhalla. I want to like deep dive into Valhalla. But I guess the long story short is like this game changed my life.
We'll have to get
And I
Ryan on the
loved
show for the episode where we talk about Valhalla, and I will also have to play Valhalla.
Yes, I think it's a prerequisite. We should, get Brian to send you a copy of Valhalla. We'll play through it and then we'll do a deep dive in Valhalla. I don't know. I'd love to get into it in like a future thing, but yeah, I played Valhalla thanks to the lovely Brian.
The lovely Brian.
The lovely Brian
Is
from
that the new
Eastbred.
title? The sequel to My Lovely Wife?
Yeah, the lovely Brian from Eastbred Games. But so everybody made fun of me for not knowing what Valhalla was. Because I wasn't aware of this title before, so like a lot of our friends in the indie game space made fun of me, and then at the end of that trip, Brian was like, "Here, play Valhalla, you dummy," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll probably like it," and I played it, and I fell in love with this game, and it is so good. It's basically a cyberpunk bar simulator, I guess, is how it's described as, and you just make drinks, and you like it's like, I guess like more people are familiar with Coffee Talk now. But it's basically like the before version, the before version, like a Coffee Talk esque. Yeah, like Coffee Talk is a Valhalla esque game. You know what I mean? But I wasn't aware and I made that mistake. But yeah, I fell in love with that game. I bought it for a couple people for the holiday season because I really want other people to experience this game. And it definitely is one of the memorable indie titles that I've played through.
It's on my list. It's on my list for sure.
Is it like number 50? Did it go from 50 to 48 on your list?
No, like if anything, the fact that people, aka Arief, won't stop talking about it should actually knock it down a few notches. The list. No, my games list is very short. Like it's definitely in the top 5, and I mean like it's pretty quick, right? Like how many hours did you burn?
I don't know. I think I played like 8 hours around.
Okay, yeah, that's doable. Like
yeah, but it's like I would definitely play it again. We should just do one whole episode where we just play it. Just like, it's a stream but in podcast form, but it's like an 8-hour long podcast.
8 hours.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
I mean, like just I guess since we're still on the topic of sort of looking back at 2022, so 2022 is actually my first time ever. I mean, streaming. Like we talk a lot about streaming, but I just wanted to say, I did my first stream in January. I actually did it on my birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
Why would you put
stream-
yourself through that?
Why would I stream on my birthday? I didn't
Yeah,
even know
like,
what
you
stream was gonna be like. What it was.
No, but
gonna-
like
How was I
nobody
not
stopped.
pregnant?
Did people stop by? Not to be offensive. I mean, like if it's your first stream ever,
Mhm.
did people actually watch the stream?
So someone actually rated me on my very
What?
first stream. I think because she saw that it was my birthday and she wanted to be a nice person.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So and that was amazing because I think if she hadn't done that, that would probably be my first and last stream. Not just because of the views, but like I wouldn't have experienced how fun it is to have people watching you, if it wasn't for her. And I don't know if I would have had the grind set to keep going. But anyway, props to her and props to the people who came. And I guess like here I am, like almost 12 months later, still streaming.
That's like mind blowing. Do you think you're a better streamer now than you were on your birthday?
Yes. I was so nervous on my first stream for something that no one but maybe like 2 friends who I begged. Well, I was like, I know you're working, but like just leave it in the background. I just want like 3 views, right? For someone who was like playing a game that I was very familiar with, but I had never like commentated, while playing, and I basically no one was watching. Like I was like super nervous, and that was actually why I started streaming. Like I don't like video calls, like whether it's for work or for personal. Like I always have camera off, and I was like, this is like an opportunity to do something I like and connect with other people hopefully, but also just like work on this whole like being on camera thing. And
Yeah. I think it's so ironic that you don't want to be on camera. I think it's hilarious because you literally like you stream. You know what I mean? It's this hilariously ironic thing to me.
Well, the thing is, like, I think 6 months in, I started VTubing as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was something. How did it happen? I guess like I know Twitch is like terrible discoverability, but I will give it to Twitch that they started showing me a lot more like Malaysian streamers. I think maybe because of my tags and stuff, and I fell into this sort of like small sort of group of people who were Malaysian VTubers, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like I thought VTubers were just like Japanese, mostly Japanese people. I didn't realize it was growing to such a scale in Southeast Asia. And then I met them. I was like, oh, okay, like so this is like very it's doable. Like it's not like obscenely expensive. So I did some research, and then like I figured out a way to have like a model made in like I think I made it in like a couple of hours. Like super basic, just using like whatever was like a preset in the software. And I tried that for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is actually really fun. Like not caring about how I look and like not sort of like being really comfortable in the chair, like being like I don't know, just like leaning back and like doing whatever. But my model is still cute. Like she still looks great, and yeah, I kind of like that. It was a very different experience.
Yeah, I can't say. I mean, like I love. It's one of those things where I love describing VTubing to people who have never seen a stream by a VTuber or people that aren't familiar with streaming at all, because I think like philosophically and how it's such a fascinating concept. Like you have an avatar for yourself, and like people are interested in following this avatar as opposed to like a real person.
Yeah.
I just think like that concept is super fascinating. But I love that you can oscillate between the two as well. Because there's a hilarious story that I don't know if they're okay with me saying this, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. This person shall remain unnamed. But I know somebody who started VTubing.
Yeah.
PNG tubing, if you will. And he said that I think like 2 weeks or 2 months into it, he put his camera back on after VTubing, and they're like, hey, we prefer seeing your character as opposed to your face. And it's like, isn't that the saddest thing ever?
My
You know what I
God.
mean? It's like my character is more popular than me,
I've definitely heard that from people as well, and I think like I've heard it from someone, and she was saying like it wasn't that person like was trying to be rude or anything.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just like they came there to see the avatar, not to see your face. So it's like give
It's
me
like a
the
different
avatar.
person, right?
Yeah. No, it's really fascinating. I think the first time I started watching VTubers, I was like, this is really weird. Like why? But I feel like it's just another persona. I mean, it's the same. When you watch, I don't know, stand-up comedy or movies, or where someone puts on like a different person. It's just interesting. And for me, in my capacity, like how I feel switching between like face cam and VTubing, I feel like I can definitely say like more outrageous things as a VTuber, because it in a way that's like it's not me. She said it.
She
you
said
know?
it.
She said it.
You commit murder. It's like I didn't do that, man.
It was my VTuber. Yeah, basically.
I love how you still insult me directly, like face to face, as opposed to like blaming it on the VTuber. It's like you just insult me, you know?
Oh, I don't. Has my VTuber interacted with you? Like,
Oh, absolutely. I think you were meaner
as
with
me.
your VTuber for sure. Like there was something. I can't remember what it was, but there definitely was
Yeah,
something that happened.
Well, I don't know. I hope I can do more of that in the new year, and I hope to like sort of upgrade it a bit better as well. Like make something a bit more personalized, because like I told you, mine is very generic. So it's in the cards. Would you ever pick up VTubing?
No, I don't know. I guess like I'm too narcissistic to like build a model for sure. Yeah. No, I feel like I'd be too stressed out by the model that like and the technicality behind it. Like I'd be worrying about it too much, but I totally agree. Sometimes it takes a while to like, you know, set the lights up, get everything in order, and it's like imagine, get my hair done, right? Like I think that the ease of it is something that's like really alluring. But also like I don't know, I don't know how much of it I would play a character when I'm VTubing, you know, or subconsciously play that character as opposed to like me on camera. But that's we should get into this whole streaming, like deeper dive into streaming. And what it means to be a streamer or a content creator, and do we think we're real people when we make content or not? You know what I mean? Like, are we two people now having a conversation, or are we two content creators making content having a conversation? You know?
Yeah. Can you take it so seriously when you say
Well,
that?
everybody, that's the 20M podcast for you, everybody. 2022 has been a great year. Was there anything else you wanted to touch base on?
No, not really. I think that was quite a bit. I'm sure we did more than play 3 games and watch 2 shows, but
yeah,
it's
Allison,
just, no.
Borderland, everybody.
No, it's been a really good year. Ups and downs, lots of new challenges, met lots of new people, tried lots of new things, and this podcast is actually going to be probably the last new thing that we'll be doing in 2022.
It's so cool. I think you're right. It's like the beginning of something whilst things are ending, if that makes sense, right? Because the year is ending, everybody's doing recaps and whatnot, but we're starting this like fun project. But speaking of this fun project, Reno, I know in future episodes we wanted to have like a segment where people who are listening or who are watching could interact with us. How should we set this up?
We haven't decided yet.
I just ask you a purely logistical question that you're not prepared for.
On the podcast. Well, by the time this comes out, we'll have figured it out, and there should be information in the description below, above, somewhere on this page where you're listening to. And it would be great to get your thoughts, comments, questions, anything. Just send it at us, and we'll be sure to read it out, as long as it's not obscenely offensive.
Yeah, like give me reasons why you also dislike My Hero Academia, you know what I mean? Or give me your review of Gigabash, right? Please, the onsen game.
Please rinse Arief for saying Attack on Titan is terrible, and he hated it. He hated it.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Or you can also tweet directly at us. I'm at Arief Johan, ARIEF JOHAN on Twitter.
I am at Rinoa Skies, RINOASKYES. Don't look at me like I didn't spell that right. I'm pretty sure.
It's just funny how we have to spell it out, because like, you know, like the Arief is weirdly spelled on my side, like unconventionally spelled on my side, and then like, it's not usually spelled with an E.
I've only seen Arief with an E.
That is 0%. There's 0%. That is true.
I don't know any.
Here, everybody, write in. Tell me how many other Ariefs that you've met that spell it ARIEF, because I can guarantee you it's very, very little.
I still think
even yours, like Skies, is like SKYES. You know what I mean?
I still think your parents were going for grief, and they did the typo. Like,
absolutely. But that's it. What else should we before we end the podcast? What else should we tell the folks out there who have made it this far, listening to our inaugural 20M podcast?
Just welcome your feedback, welcome your engagement, welcome your questions. Don't hate us. Just hate the hot takes, but don't hate us.
There will be many more thoughts on, look, because like we're definitely going to be talking about games, TV, anime, shows, pop culture, things that happen to us in our lives. But I can guarantee you, there's going to be a lot more fights in future episodes. You know, so don't hate us, hate the subject matter, or just pick my side on all these arguments because most times I feel like I have the right take.
You've opened with hating Attack on Titan, and there's no going back. Everyone's gonna be on my side.
Imagine we open a PO box or something, and people send us like Attack on Titan merch. You know what I mean? It's just like I can't get rid of it. Oh man. Okay, right. See you on the next 20M podcast.
All right, thanks everyone. See ya. Bye.
I love Attack on Titan. Imagine it's like I love that show so much. I'm just doing a bit. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's dedication to the bit.